Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty and I'm joined once again by Sean Martin, Haggerty10 Twitter handle, at Sean Martin TCW. And it was 4, Sean. Overnight, without kicking a ball, the title race has been exploded back into life again. Aberdeen get a draw with Rangers, 1 each. But from a Celtic point of view, happy Monday, terrific Tuesday, wonderful Wednesday. It just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it, as we're moving along?
It's certainly been a good week so far, isn't it? It's obviously it's hard when stuff's out of your hands in a way, but there's so long to go. As much as it was a disappointing situation to be in, there was always so long to go that there was really kind of, as Ange kept saying, take care of your own fixture schedule and let the other stuff happen as it happens. And that's the first thing that's happened there last night. Actually, I watched it. I thought Aberdeen potentially could have won it as well, but you'll take what you can get. It's now down to 4, as you say. A couple of really important games coming up before the derby, which is now 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks a day, actually. But just to point it out, obviously, Alloa, first things first, Alloa at the weekend, obviously, but just to take into consideration the Premiership stuff, I mean, it's two crucial games. They're as crucial as any, basically, so far in the league. I would say the next 2 league games before the derby, even.
Yes.
You've got Hearts third in the table. Hearts a week today, and then it's Dundee United next Saturday. They're 7th. Right? Both of those teams have obviously taken points from Celtic this season already, although both have been avenged since. Yes. And Dundee United are on a shocking run of form, but regardless, it's 2 decent teams. Rangers, on the other hand, they play Livingston, who are 8th on the Wednesday, and then they play third bottom Ross County on the Saturday, which is also notably lunchtime, so it's before Celtic play on the Saturday. Basically, it is crucial, the next couple of games, as much as the derby, almost as much as the derby anyway. And I think very much about concentrating on what Ange has been saying about running your own race and playing your own games first, that kind of thing.
I took the words out of my mouth there, Sean. Celtic will continue to run their own races, Ange said earlier in the season at Fir Park. But it's just nice to know that they are certainly back with a bang in the title race, and it's all they could have hoped for. Celtic did their job by beating Hibs, and that was what we spoke about. You had to apply that pressure, and it's paid off, certainly this week, with Rangers dropping a couple of points. The gap's now 4, well within their grasp.
Aye, that's all you can do. It really is. I mean, there's been certain times, I think the Livingston draw and stuff like that, where you really do rue it at the time because you feel this could be this was a match you should have won, that kind of thing, and the gap shouldn't be what it is. But to give Ange the credit, he very much is right. Think of the next game. How do you bounce back from it? How do you, as he always says, it's not a mistake. The fact that you've made a mistake, it's how you bounce back from the mistake. They're still on this unbeaten run.
Yep. 18.
So basically, domestically I think it's 16, but it's more. Simply just do it. Simply just keep doing it week in, week out, twice a week actually. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course. Now another wee snippet of news that came through late last night and confirmed this morning. Connor Hazard has gone to HJK Helsinki on loan.
Yep.
Sean, are you surprised by that switch, or did you see that kind of coming?
I'd be lying if I said I seen him going to Helsinki, but no, I think it's probably natural that he goes because, well, one, he played 7 games last year, including a cup final. The rescheduled one. Lest we forget, like, he's got a medal and stuff. His 7 games were all right. I mean, he didn't embarrass himself or anything like that. But did he show enough to really say that he could be a Celtic number 1? Probably not. The situation, the way it is, we've discussed it with my fabled depth chart and all that. He was barely in that. Like, I mean, it's Hart, it's Bain, it's Barkas, and then probably Hazard. So I'm not surprised that he's gone at all, really. I don't think there was any realistic possibility that he got first team game time. And with Bain signing his new deal, I think it only really reinforces that.
Yeah, I was going to say Bain signing a new deal, so that kind of shows you Andy's thinking on that, doesn't it?
Aye, it makes sense because as much as we're saying they need to strengthen, and they did and they do still maybe need another one or two, there are quite a lot of first team squad players there, and a lot of them won't be getting game time. So if you can get a shooter to take them out on loan or to take them permanently, then I think you've got to go for that as well to help trim the fat, so to speak.
Of course. Now, Sean, anything else impress you about Monday night's game? We covered a lot of topics yesterday, but did you see anything else that you thought, nice one, I like that moving forward?
We never really got a chance to speak about Yuranovich, really, but he obviously scored his penalty. I thought he linked up well with Abada, who, again, as much as I realise Abada sometimes gets quite a lot of criticism, and I do think he's went through periods of doing very little. His underlying stats have always been quite impressive, and I think on Monday, I don't think he had a bad game, really. I don't think anybody had a bad game, actually, for Celtic. I think everybody played to varying degrees quite well. But no, I thought Yuranovich, as I say, we never got a chance to really talk about him. He was decent enough defensively, including a couple of times he had to challenge in the air, which he's not particularly and he's also, he's clearly enjoying being able to take those set pieces with Turnbull out, isn't he? He loves it.
Yeah. And he also, and it's a while since I've seen somebody so confident from 12 yards, Sean, in a Celtic jersey. They've had a problem in the past with...
Possibly be remiss of me not to suggest that Lewis Ferguson was very confident last night with his the wind-blowing penalty, but I digress. No, I agree with you. I think he's you could see he wanted the penalty. He wants all the set pieces. You can see that he wants to take it. He trusts his own ability to deliver. He's obviously, when, for instance, before he joined and with the scouting reports and the data and stuff, suggests that his crossing is really good. But because he was playing on the left and always checking back in and not being able to overlap and all of that, didn't really get to see it when he played on the left. I'd argue there's still a lot more to come from him on the right in that respect as well. But there was glimpses of it, not just from set pieces, because a lot of the time when I look at Turnbull's stats from a game, he's got 4 key passes, but 3 of them are from a set piece, that kind of thing. With Yuranovich, it was one of those. He had 3 key passes, they were all from set pieces, but he did put in a couple of not bad crosses on the overlap as well. So I think there's more to come from him in that sense.
Young boy Martin comes in and agrees with you, Sean. Yuranovich is a quality, fantastic player. He also seems to be loving it as well, because he was interviewed after it and he said he was loving life, So Frank Brennan just came in and said we must all slow down, and good old Glaswegian phrase, Hodderwished. Stop looking ahead to certain games and everything else, and only keep our focus on who's next and who are the best starting 11 to win that game and then move on. I think that's kind of what Andy's saying as well.
Yep,
and Brian Roberts comes in and says the strength in the bench counted. Indeed. I don't think anyone's getting ahead of themselves here, Sean. You were looking ahead, as say, after the Alloa game in terms of the league games, weren't you? For more than anything else, that was what.
I definitely say that it's all about Alloa next, but just because of the context of what happened at Pittodrie last night, it was worth seeing, right? Which a couple of games before the derby. Obviously, for the derby, it's looking like be without Rogic. Although the Japan squad hasn't been announced yet, I don't think. I've not checked this morning, but I checked yesterday and it wasn't announced yet.
22nd, I think, isn't it?
Well, that's conjecture just now. I think it's usually, when I was looking into it, it's the last 3 squads. 2 have been announced exactly a week before the first game of the break, and the other one was announced 10 days before it. So it could be any time really now. I think the best guess, which it is a guess from the journalists over there, was the 22nd. So we'll see.
There's Rab McEwen coming in with a blast on the pass. Yuranovich, the best full-back penalty taker since Phil Neal for Liverpool. Phil Neal, who played in the great.
Surely Dennis Irwin.
Well, it depends on your vintage, doesn't it, Sean, I guess? And David Bradley, David, I was looking for a sneaky draw last night and I got it. That's why I was desperate to see Celtic putting real pressure on Rangers. David's been banging on about that they had to start putting in pressure. Isaac McQuaid comes in and says Celtic in a good place at the moment. They're a joy to watch. Morning, Isaac, how you doing? I don't disagree with any of the comments coming in. Timonon comes in, probably agreeing with yourself, Sean, can see an entirely different starting 11 against Alloa. We now have that strength and depth, which we've spoken about. Some quality players might want to rest players, but we can't take Alloa too lightly. and just, go with a shadow team. You have to take every competition seriously and
Definitely.
have a bit of a strong side, and maybe some guys that you want to give game time to, maybe like Giacomakis, something like that.
I was exactly who I was going to mention there. I think he might get a wee start there, because there's other considerations as well as rotation. There are people like Giacomakis not only low on game time, but coming back from an injury. So you'd imagine, I don't know, maybe even Jota might start. Depends on the on his condition. He was obviously fine to come on for the last 10 minutes. That's different from starting a game, but there's certain players that have got to come back up to fitness as well. So is it a good chance? It's a knockout tie, obviously. So
yeah,
there's always that to consider. But you can't ignore the fact it's against a team that's in a lower division. So I would expect to see changes. I would expect to see rotation. How much rotation it is, I guess it depends on the condition of a lot of players. But you've got to remember, it's just after a 3-week break as well. So you're not in the midst of an absolute hectic run, even though that's about to come. So no, I'd expect to see changes, but I think the key, and that's what you were getting at, the key is that the players coming in should be of a requisite quality to get the job done anyway.
I'll wager with you, Sean, that we've no chance of getting that 11 spot on for the Alloa tie.
You get a good shot, but it's hard when it's a cup game. And
Shafi comes in, Martin Shafi says, in the Alloa game, wouldn't mind seeing Julie and Karamoko and Scales in the team. There's a I wouldn't say controversial one, but I don't know, depending on how fit Julian is, I wouldn't mind seeing him at some point in that game.
It's a fitness in it. I mean, it's the same with Karamoko as well. I mentioned earlier in the season that, or wasn't even earlier in the season, it was before the season because he got injured in pre-season. That Ange specifically spoke about him and says that he didn't see any reason to bar a path to the first team. Now, obviously, it's up to Karamoko Dembele to actually be ready to take that chance, and it's obviously more difficult now with the addition of other players and the rise of Abada. But there's every chance that if he is fit, he gets an opportunity at some stage. I don't know if that would be Alloa, because I don't know how fit he is, if he's ready to go in and play from the start. I don't know.
Tim Anon comes in. Here's one for you. Mark Reid on penalties was class, if I remember rightly. Mark Reid, former Celtic fullback, scored a couple of important penalties for Celtic. I remember one in the League Cup semi against Aberdeen and in the League Cup final. 84, that would be. Now, where are we? David Bradley comes in and says, Sean, would you like Julian to start the Rangers game, as I feel we're short of height against Rangers and I think we need him for this game?
I don't think he will. I don't think he will, because I don't think it doesn't sound as if he's going to be ready to have had a couple of games before that game, and I think that's probably what Ange would be looking for. And given there's another 3 centre backs there, there's no rush for Julian in Ange's mind, I would imagine. It depends on how fit he is, really. Starfelt obviously just did another good game. Carter Vickers, I think we can all agree, is solidified in that right centre back position just now. It's really about who partners him. Starfelt's got the jersey at the moment. You all know I rate Welsh, I like him. And I do think that if everybody was fit and Julian reaches a level that he was at before, which I'm not overestimating, because we all know he was fallible, but I think he's a better defender than Starfelt. So I think it would be Carter Vickers and Julian. I just don't think it would probably be maybe too soon for that derby.
This full back penalty debate's raging on, and talking about Phil Neal. Somebody said Tommy Gemmell, who was a bit of a hot shot Hamish when it came to taking penalties, just to smack them in. And I think Tommy Gemmell missed about 2 or 3 in his career, to be fair, his Celtic career. But then Frank Brennan has went, Mark Reid, class, ? I think the point was, Frank, that he was class at penalties. You can argue the toss whether he was a class Celtic player. Anyone who pulls on a Celtic jersey has ability. So that's one for an argument's sake there. But CSC 1967 makes a good point here about the surface at the end of Jill, saying the Alloa pitch is poor, but no way any boys coming back from injury will play on that. That's another consideration.
Maybe, but
yeah. Rab McEwen comes on morning. Rab, hot shot Hamish, show your age. I've never had my age, Rab.
You put that comment away very quickly there, that's all.
I'll put it up again. For those of a certain vintage, you remember hot shot Hamish from the comic book era. Sean, but you'll probably not be a comic book man. Roy the Rovers et al. That was kind of big when I was a kid.
When I was younger, it was a Beano the Dandy.
All right, okay.
I think I was into all those match shit. That was more annuals though than comics.
And Ewan Boy Martin comes in. What Ange's done for us since coming in is remarkable. To take over a team in total free fall and now having us playing beautiful football and looking like winners. Keep it up, and well, I've written kind of something on the Celtic way today, Sean, sort of saying that about we spoke about it. Players that are now coming in, they're seamless, they're fitting into that system, and I've said that he's just starting. This is a kind of start. You called it phase 2. I kind of said it's kind of start of his Celtic revolution, and he's building of his beautiful house. I think that's kind of it coming to fruition now and seeing it at the start of that, you know.
No, I agree with you. I think there's still a way to go before Ange is even kind of slightly happy with the football, the team and the results are all merging together and where that's all at. No, I definitely agree with that. I think most important for me, though, I'm actually kind of disappointed it's not a league game next.
Yeah.
Because another league card and you never know, just ram home that kind of that pressure a wee bit more. But there's obviously a wee bit of breathing space for the league leaders in between. But nonetheless, it is what it is. And as I keep saying, Alloa, yes, are definitely next up. They're definitely the priority. After that is when you really want to see them try and press home the glimmer of hope that's there. So
Frank comes back in. You're right, Frank. We never argue, we discuss and debate. That's very, very true. I'd never argue with you.
I'm laughing at Frank's next comment. We'll put that up on the screen.
When you go then?
Fair play.
See, we like that, Frank. We like that partner. We like a bit of self-deprecation as well. It's all good. We like that. Yes, indeed. Keep it coming, guys. I think this might be a reference to me, Stig the Bump. There you go. Shafi comes back in. Season pass, we get a DVD of the team's best bits. This year, Celtic need a DVD of Ange's quality media duties. Could listen to the guy all day. Well, I was
going to say, let's get yours a wee bump here, Tony, because you've done that.
Yeah, I did a thing over Christmas with Ange's best bits to the media, kind of sound bites, and it was on the website, and it did quite well. And trying to collate some more as we move along, because he never shucks a question, does he? He never shucks his responsibility, and he always answers openly and honestly. And to be honest, he has been quite refreshing since he came in for journalists and for the supporters alike, hasn't he, Sean?
Aye. I mean, even after the cup final, which is a massive achievement. I mean, it's not, you don't necessarily take it as a given that you come into a new job, even at Celtic, and win a trophy at the first time of asking. It's not as simple as that a lot of the time.
Yep.
So I think he would have known, the fans definitely knew, we know that it's an important first step, and it was it didn't justify, because I think it was justified anyway, even if they hadn't won the League Cup, but it was just a nice wee tangible reminder that there's a process going on and it is working and it's going towards something a lot bigger. And even in his presser after that, which we were both there at, he was very much playing it down in a way, but you still managed to get that it meant a lot to him to have won it. Still obviously putting the kind of praise on his players, never really taking it himself. And I think that, as much as the kind of the quips and the wee snarky comments and stuff like that, I think ingratiates himself a wee bit to the fans. I think it's very much, he's very much a personality you can get on board with and you can listen to. And also as well, Sean, we sat there and we listened to him, and he was talking about going again on Monday, wasn't he? Aye, he did. That's exactly what he mentioned. Aye, which is exactly the kind of attitude that you're wanting. Not just after a cup final, but as I say, after mistakes as well, so to speak, like drawn 0-0 or whatever. It's still the same attitude. It's still the same. Right, on to the next game. Make sure you recover from the mistake in a manner that's acceptable. That kind of thing. Likewise, when it was a cup final and it's a massive high, it was like, right, don't get too far ahead of yourself. There's still something to come in a couple of days' time. That kind of thing. Because he was asked himself that day if he was going to have a drink. Yep. And he said he was surrounding himself with his family, enjoy the moment, but his focus was on the Monday, wasn't it? And coming back in and starting all over again. And I remember looking at you and thinking, wow,
that's the kind of mentality and attitude that you want from a Celtic manager, as you've just said.
Aye. Very, very modern, very modern outlook on the whole thing. I think we can all agree that that's one thing he has. He's always looking to adapt. You can see that in his career past. He said at that same press conference that he kind of gets bored eventually if things are going far too easily, far too well. And in a way, when he took this job, he's never really been in a job that's like won every single week. You are the favourites pretty much every game you play. But the situation that he took over was almost as close to underdog status as you're going to get at Celtic. And I don't think it's a surprise that he wants to overachieve in Europe to kind of bump that up an extra wee bit. I think that's the kind of things that he's looking at as well. And I think that all bodes well because he's always... How often during the 9 in a row did you hear people say, aye, but we should be competing in Europe because the league will take care of itself if you're operating a level that's good for competing in Europe. And I think he's already got that right away, that is his aim, to be competing at the European level, and therefore the league will be part of the kind of process with it.
And he's also said that he enjoys the pressure of it all.
Aye.
The fact that he enjoyed the pressure of rebuilding Celtic and pressure of the fact that he wants to make them a success in Europe again, wants to wrestle the title off Rangers. He's like, these are the bits I love. And he's not made no secret of telling people that, and that's what I admire about him. And he has came across himself.
And literally came across himself.
Yeah, correct. And has that unerring belief in his own ability and where he thinks he can take Celtic. So,
I think that's an important point that you come across himself. I don't think it would be for everybody. It obviously wasn't for Eddie Howe, and that's not a dig, right? That is. I don't think it's a massive problem that Eddie Howe thought that the kind of job that they've been on his hands at Celtic required him to have his backroom staff and stuff. I think that's a fair enough thing to think, but it does make it all the more impressive that Ange got the opportunity and says, "No, I'll come now and I'll come myself."
Yeah, and I'll do this, and I'll instill this philosophy and style, and we'll see where it takes us. Indeed, as I've said today, he's only starting, Sean. He's only starting, and people will rightfully tell you that from his managerial history in Australia and Japan, it gets better in the second season. There you go. Well, the first season is always the rebuild, but hey, we're in the middle of the rebuild, or the start of the rebuild. We'll see where it takes us, but we're all just going to strap ourselves in and enjoy the magic carpet ride. And it's been pretty magic so far. It's been a good week, and we'll continue this week. And you'll see me and Alison tomorrow. I believe you've got the day off, Sean.
Yep.
Enjoy your day off, sir.
I certainly shall.
And thank you for the contributions, guys. Always enjoy it. Always enjoy the banter, especially with Frank, top man. And I'll see you tomorrow alongside Alison. Sean, thanks for your contribution. Always enjoy that. All the best. Have a good day.
Cheers, Tony. Cheers, guys.